Welcome back to the deep dive.
Good to be here.
Today, we're really digging into something fundamental, the architecture of visual storytelling. Not the plots themselves, but the containers, the formats.
Exactly. The critical distinctions between major film formats.
Our sources lay out these 6 essential categories. But what's really interesting is the strategic thinking behind each one. So our mission today is kind of to cut through the jargon and show you why picking the format is maybe the first and, well, most crucial creative choice a storyteller actually makes.
It really sets the stage for everything else.
And the big question we want you thinking about, maybe by the end, is pretty strategic. If you had this killer story idea brewing, how would you actually know if it belongs as, say, a sharp 20-minute short?
Or a sprawling 2-hour feature epic.
Exactly. Because that pressure, the pressure of the format itself, it fundamentally changes how you even write the story, doesn't it?
Absolutely. That's the core tension. Filmmaking isn't just, superhero blockbusters. Stories thrive across this whole spectrum of lengths and styles.
Right.
And our sources really hammer this home.
Right.
The second you choose your format, you're also choosing your audience, your likely budget, your path to distribution.
So if you mismatch the story and the container,
it just won't work. No matter how good the core idea is, it probably won't survive if it's in the wrong package.
Okay, let's unpack this then. Starting with maybe the most basic distinction, the one that shapes a lot of careers. Short film versus feature film.
Yeah, the foundation.
It sounds obvious, just length, right? But the differences go way deeper.
Well, yeah, you have to start with length because it dictates the whole economic model, pretty much. Feature films are the traditional commercial engine.
Right.
Generally, you're looking at 60 minutes or longer. But the sweet spot for theaters and definitely for the big streaming platforms like Netflix, it's usually around 90 to 120 minutes. That's what they're built for.
And the short film is, well, the opposite.
Precisely. Shorts are typically defined as under 40 minutes. But honestly, for getting noticed, that sweet spot is often much tighter, maybe 5 to 20 minutes.
Okay, but why? Why that 40-minute cutoff? You mentioned it earlier. It feels kind of arbitrary, doesn't it?
It does. Unless, like you said, you look at it through the lens of distribution. Festivals, basically.
Oh, okay.
The sources are clear. The short film is primarily a calling card. Its main purpose isn't box office revenue. It's showing off your talent, directing, writing, cinematography in the shortest possible time. Prove you can execute.
So a 15-minute film fits neatly into a festival program block.
Exactly. Programmers love that. But a 45-minute film, it starts to mess up their scheduling. It takes the space of maybe another feature slot or several shorter shorts. It's just less practical for them.
So if you're trying to break in, you play the game, stick to 5 to 20 minutes for maximum velocity, as you put it.
That's the strategic move. Maximize your chances of getting seen.
So the short is about speed, trying new things, experimentation.
Yeah.
And keeping the financial risk low, right? Relying on favors, maybe small grants, self-funding.
Definitely lower budget.
Yeah.
And it lets you hit hard and fast emotionally. Focus on one core idea, one character, one key moment.
Compared to the feature, which is all about going bigger, sustained immersion.
Right. The feature needs that much larger budget. You're talking investors, studios sometimes.
Yeah.
Because the story has to justify holding someone's attention for 2 hours or more.
Which means complex plots, multiple character arcs, maybe building a whole world.
Exactly. Deeper themes. A whole different beast.
That makes sense. It means if you're a feature filmmaker, you're managing risk differently. If your story feels thin, stretching it just to hit that 90-minute mark, that's usually a disaster waiting to happen.
Oh, absolutely. The length has to serve the story's natural scope. You can't force it.
And connecting this to the bigger picture now streaming services, like Netflix you mentioned, they seem to be pushing features longer sometimes, right? They want stuff that keeps people subscribed, binging maybe.
Yeah, there's definitely a trend towards longer features or limited series that demand that sustained viewing.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the short film, it's finding new avenues, isn't it?
Like those niche digital platforms.
Exactly. Sites like Watch Alter or Watch Dust, they're building dedicated audiences for these high-velocity shorts, the kind of the traditional theatrical model often ignored.
So the format's fate is really tied to these market forces, distribution channels.
Completely. Where and how people watch dictates what gets made and at what length.
Okay, so we have the calling card short and the commercial engine feature. Now let's get into the other 4 categories. These really stretch the definition of a movie, moving beyond just narrative blockbusters.
Yeah, these formats are often driven more by, say, Factual content, artistic innovation, technical skill.
Right. Sometimes they kind of ignore the whole traditional theatrical model. Let's start with documentary films.
Okay.
The purpose here seems pretty clear. Truth-telling, maybe creating social impact. Informing, educating, sparking change by looking at real events, real issues.
And what's fascinating is how distribution is changing documentaries, too. Historically, you had these powerful feature-length docs, like Citizen4, intense, focused investigations.
Yeah.
But now, with streaming platforms hungry for factual content, you see docs being sliced into shorter segments or maybe expanded into these big multi-part series.
Which demands a totally different approach from the filmmaker, right? Pacing, structure.
Completely different. And the techniques themselves are specialized. Ethical considerations are huge. You're using interviews. Archival footage needs careful sourcing. Sometimes it's just pure observation. A different toolkit entirely.
It raises a key question for anyone making one, doesn't it? Does your story need 20 minutes to make its point, or does it need like 8 hours across a series to really have that impact?
The purpose has to drive the scope. Otherwise, the message gets lost.
Okay, next up. A format that seems to almost actively reject commercial pressures. Experimental films.
Ah, the avant-garde.
Yeah. If features are about pleasing the box office, these often seem designed to maybe confuse or challenge the audience.
Their whole reason for being is artistic innovation. Creative freedom trumps conventional plot every time.
So variable length, weird visuals, non-linear stuff, really pushing boundaries.
And abstract visuals, unconventional techniques. Un Chien de Loup, that 16-minute surrealist short, is the classic example. Pure form over narrative.
And where do these even get shown? Not the multiplex, I assume.
No, usually art galleries, museums, academic circles, maybe special retrospectives online. It reflects that anti-commercial stance.
But for a creator, this format offers something valuable, right? Like a safe space.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the ultimate lab. If you have a wild idea about color, sound, abstract editing, something that just won't fit a normal story, this is where you can test it without commercial constraints.
Okay. Then we get to a format that actually manages to bridge huge commercial success with, often, real artistry, animated films.
Right. Animation can be shorts, can be features.
And the key thing is the technique, isn't it? 2D, 3D, stop motion.
Yeah.
It lets filmmakers go places live action just can't.
And animation is often where the big technical leaps happen in cinema, pushing the tech forward.
But the production, that's complex, right? Yeah. Especially something like stop motion.
Oh, incredibly complex.
Yeah.
Our sources point this out, a stop motion feature. It's painstakingly slow, needs highly specialized skills. Managing that is totally different from directing live actors on a set. The budget reflects that complexity too.
But the payoff can be huge and long-lasting. Animation often has this broad appeal. Kids to adults, think of like Spirited Away or Pixar films.
Universal appeal.
Yeah.
And they create intellectual property that can generate revenue for decades. It justifies that massive upfront investment. It's a strategic choice for long-term return.
So choosing animation is basically choosing world building and creative freedom over the constraints of, well, reality.
Pretty much. You're prioritizing that imaginative potential.
Okay, finally, the sixth category, the anthology film. This one's structurally interesting. It's usually feature-length, but it's made up of multiple separate segments.
Right. Which leads to the question, isn't that just, a bunch of short films stuck together? What makes it a distinct format?
Good question. The key, according to our sources, is that second word, unity. Thematic unity. While it uses short segments, the purpose is to link those distinct stories, often by different directors, which allows for cool collaborations through a common theme or maybe a shared tone or a setting.
Got it. So that underlying unity is what makes it feel like a cohesive feature, not just a random collection.
Exactly. It allows for variety, but still delivers that sustained experience audiences and distributors often want from a feature. The Ballad of Buster Scruggs is a great recent example. Multiple stories, different tones, but all under that Western umbrella.
Delivers distinct voices within one cohesive work. Makes sense.
So, okay, we've covered this whole spectrum. 6 formats. Shorts, features, docs, experimental, animation, anthologies. What does this all mean for you, the listener, whether you're just watching movies or maybe thinking about making one?
It means every format offers unique rewards, but also unique challenges. The common thread, though, is purpose. Before you even think about writing, our sources say you need to assess 3 core things.
Okay, what are they?
First, the story's true scope. Does it genuinely need 2 hours for deep character arcs to breathe? Or does it hit hardest as a concentrated 20-minute burst? Be honest about what the story demands.
Right, scope. What's second?
Second, your resources. Brutal honesty time. Do you realistically have the funding, the team, the connections for a big feature? Or the specialized skills and patience for animation? Or is a self-funded short more achievable right now?
Resources, okay, makes sense. And third,
Third, your immediate goals. What are you trying to achieve right now? Are you an emerging filmmaker trying to get noticed by festivals with that perfect calling card short?
or are you aiming for broad commercial reach on a streamer?
Exactly. Your immediate goal heavily influences the format choice. Is it art, career advancement, or commerce driving the decision?
That distinction in purpose is crucial,
Yeah.
which brings us back to that final thought experiment for you.
Hmm?
Take that story idea you've got kicking around. Imagine you decide it's a feature. You're thinking expansive development, multiple plot lines. Now, what happens if suddenly the market shifts or a producer says, great idea, but we need it as a 25-minute calling card?
Oof. What do you cut?
Exactly. What gets sacrificed? But more importantly, think about this. How does just knowing the purpose behind the format, knowing it has to be a calling card for festivals versus knowing it has to be a commercial release to satisfy investors?
How does that pressure change the story itself?
Right. How does it change the writing, the pacing, the whole execution right from page one?
Understanding that pressure. That's the secret, really. Choosing the right vehicle for your particular story, for your particular goals.
Because the right container, the right format, is what gives your story the best shot at actually connecting with an audience in today's, pretty crowded landscape.
It helps it find its stream, so to speak.
Nicely put, a really strategic deep dive today into the nuts and bolts of cinema.
It's the architecture, as you said.
Thanks for joining us as we explore these film formats and the forces shaping them. Hopefully you can take this knowledge and apply it next time you watch something. Start seeing those underlying choices.
Yeah, look beyond the plot. See the structure. Keep exploring those distinctions. Until next time.
See you on the next deep dive.